From San Francisco, California, this is the Rock and Roll Geek Show. This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name is Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Sunday, March 9th, 2025, and it is 12:29 p.m. when I'm recording this episode. I'm in Holiday Inn in Chicago, Illinois. Last night we played Reggie's in Chicago. It was, that was the gig where they said, oh, we only have 12 pre-sold tickets. Can you guys renegotiate your guarantee? Otherwise we might have to cancel. And we asked all our friends, hey, can you just buy tickets instead of being on the guest list because we need to keep this show. So anyway, when we got to the venue yesterday, we were in the small room, which is the main bar, and got there and they said, today pre-sold 41. So to me, 41 pre-sold means you're going to probably have 100 people there. So we did our sound check, everything was going great. They had a dressing room upstairs. There's this place is strange. There's a rooftop. There's a second floor, which is a comedy club after midnight, and they let us use that as our dressing room until midnight. And then there's a basement room, which is a big hall where larger bands play. And then there's a front club, which is more like a rock and roll club, and that's where we played. Ended up being about I'm going to guess maybe a little bit over 100 people, somewhere around 100 people. Respectable crowd, not sold out, but respectable. It definitely was not 35, so it was a good time. We could not finish our entire set because we had a time limit, which I personally did not know about the time limit. I would have told Richard, and he would have cussed me out and told me I was an asshole and to stop bugging me and everything. Anyway, by the time we got to Two Tub Man, the guy goes over to our monitors. You got 10 minutes, guys. There's nothing more stressful than hearing a sound man tell you, or whoever's running the place tell you you got 10 minutes when you got 5 songs left on the set. Richard had been telling stories and going a little bit long-winded, and he does what he does. You can't control the guy. He's 71 years old. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. So we had to rush through. We had to omit a few songs, so we didn't play Who Will Save Rock and Roll. He asked the audience, you want to hear Kick Out the Jams or Who Will Save Rock and Roll? And it sounded like they were more interested in hearing Kick Out the Jams, so we ended with that. All in all, it was a great show. I was extremely tired. I am on no sleep. Every night I've been getting like 5 hours sleep. It's not because we're out partying, it's because we have long drives, and we usually end up finishing the set around midnight, and then we tell everybody, go. Here's how it works. So after the last song, we say, hey, go to the merch booth. Richard will be signing, or Manitoba will be signing all your stuff. And so we walk in. So as soon as we get off stage, it's either me or this little mini tour has been Joe Pawlak, who's been a godsend, carrying my red cooler, and he's been kind of walking Manitoba to the stage and making sure he's got waters and all that. And then after the set, Joe will walk him, or somebody will walk him to the merch booth, and he'll sign stuff, and he'll sit there and tell stories to everybody. He'll tell the same stories he's told on stage to everybody. He's got a story for every person. So it takes a good 2 hours before he's done signing. So if you have a decent crowd, and the crowds have been pretty decent this entire tour, or not, but what tour? 5 shows. This entire 5 shows, the crowds have been pretty decent. So pretty much everybody who buys a ticket gets something signed from him. So consequently, we do pretty well on merch. And my point being, it takes 2 hours before we get out of there. So by the time we get back to the hotel or wherever we're staying, it's 2:30. And then you still got the adrenaline from the show, so you gotta have a beer or two, a nightcap. So by the time you get to bed, it's 3:30. And last night was a time change, so we lose an hour. So I got to bed at like 4 a.m. And so we've been averaging maybe 5 hours of sleep. we managed to get a late checkout today, but I'm on about 4 hours sleep. Hey, I'll sleep when I get home. Actually, I won't. I got a lot of shit to do, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure out how to catch up on the sleep. So yeah, all in all, it's been great. Today we have an hour and a half drive to Milwaukee. The bands on the bill last night were the Strains, and there was an opening band called the Evictions. Gigi, or Brigitte, excuse me, I call her Gigi. Her name's Brigitte. She's a merch girl. She's my friend. I've known her since she was 18 years old, and she's traveling with us doing merch. She's a great at selling merch. It's so much better having a female selling merch because they are more organized, and she takes pictures of everybody who's with everybody wants to get their picture taken with Handsome Dick Manitoba and all that stuff. So she's been great. She fell hard for the bass player of this opening band. My friend Adam from American Heartbreak was there last night. Several listeners. Dave Franco showed up to the room to the hotel this morning and took me out for coffee and gave me a donation. Thank you, Dave Franco, and he gave me a bunch of merch from his blues band called Delta Pines Blues Rock. Cool seeing him. I better not say what he does for a living, but he's got a good job. And I saw Jeffrey Zapuluk. Joe Pawlak will be telling you his name in a minute. And Jeff Thieleke showed up last night as well. And Gene Ambo, famous rock photographer, showed up. It was nice to see him. I have not seen him since I was in Exodus. Craig's wife came. Anyway, Gigi fell hard for the bass player for this opening band. Adam said, "Oh, you got to check out the opening band. Their bass player is the coolest bass player in Chicago." And of course, Brigitte fell for the guy. Ooh, swooning. Ooh, he's dreamy. It's interesting. I've never seen a girl. As a guy, I've never seen the dynamic when girls go crazy for dudes. So it was kind of cute watching her swoon over this bass player. I didn't get it. The band's a little bit stoner rock for me. He was running around with a wireless, kind of goofy in my opinion. But she thought he was cute. So maybe she got laid last night. Who knows? Yeah, so that's last night. Today we're traveling to Milwaukee. When we were upstairs in that dressing room, Joe Pawlak, temporary roving reporter filling in for Casey Crenshaw, talked to everybody upstairs. So I have not listened, but it goes about 20 minutes. I'm going to play that for you now, friends. Take it away, roving reporter Joe Pawlak.
Hello again. This is the fill-in roving reporter Joe Pawlak. I'm here in the fine town of Chicago, Illinois, with a cast of characters, if you will. One, Mr. Michael.
Good-looking characters.
Well, they're legends in their own minds. There's no doubt about that. To my right, I have Mr. Michael Butler. In the middle, I have Mr.
Good-looking Michael Butler.
Jeffrey Zelapugas. And then to his right,
Just like it's spelled.
to his right, I have Jeff from Iowa. Jeff from Iowa. So we had a spoiler alert today, which friends of the Geek Show will be happy to know that not only is there soon to perhaps not be as much of a Jeff and, a Thieleke, we found out how he's actually pronounces his last name. So I'm going to keep that undercover. I don't want to do that, but let me go around the group here. And then to my left is the finest piece of lady north of the Mason-Dixon line. She shall remain unnamed, but my understanding is she loves dick.
Yeah.
So anyway,
she does a lot about that. She's a memory expert as well.
I love dick.
And she likes boobs. Hey, so Jeff, what brings you here from the fine outpost of Ames, Iowa, home of Cy?
I'm just here for the dick.
So he's here for the dick. This is, by the way, 18 beers later. Jeff has been drinking his way through the city of Chicago all day today. So God bless him. He looks good, but I'm waiting to see once he gets up from this chair how that all goes. And then we've got Jeff. Jeff, you and I have seen how many concerts together?
3 or 4.
Right? So the last one was The Darkness, the last one?
No, it was at Maiden.
Ah, that's right. We saw Maiden in Chicago.
Michael Street go?
No, it was in Rosemont, Illinois. Right?
Yeah, Rosemont, Illinois. October. My daughter did not go because she was in Europe, I believe, at the time. So, but anyway, Jeff and I have seen several concerts together. We've hung out. We've done a bunch of stuff. So, first time meeting Jeff from Iowa. And you, sir, your name?
Hi, I'm Michael Butler, long time, first time. What is it? Big fan.
Big fan?
Big fan
Okay.
of Dick.
But behind here, sitting by himself at the bar, is the drummer for the Handsome Dick Manitoba band. So who do we have with us here today?
Hi, I'm Scotty Slam from East Rutherford, New Jersey.
It's been great meeting you, Scotty. I remember the first time you and I talked, and I got to learn about many of the entrepreneurial exercises that you do on a regular basis. So we're really proud that you're out here on the Handsome Dick Manitoba pounding the skins, right?
Yeah, it's really fun, man. These songs are fun to play. Dick is the most incredible character, and Butler I respect, and Craig I've known for 40-something years, and I've also known Frank, the other guitar player, for at least 35 years. So yeah, it's like old friends, and it's just great. They all hang. The band is so cool. Everybody is so down to earth, and you know what I mean.
So I like to ask this of folks, like what during this set. Hold on, I'm talking to Scotty Slam.
Come on.
So I like to ask this question. So of all the songs in the typical set, so what's the one that gets you going the most?
I like Two Tub Man, and I like Faster and Louder, because that one's like, it says in the name, I play everything fast and I play it really loud, and then the song goes to a level, and then after the break it comes really down, and then it goes straight to the ceiling, and then it just explodes, and then it just goes and goes and then settles back in. But a good band could have dynamics, and they could take a song like Faster and Louder, and they'll play it flat all the way across, and then every part kind of sounds or is the same volume. That song, we start out powerful and stay, and then we drop down, and then we come out of it and we get more powerful, and then we just end it on this, for fierceness. And it's it's cool. I've seen bands like, I saw Baroness and a few of these other bands that like are, grungy, not grungy, but kind of like, real hard punk rock bands. Mm-hmm. And those bands take it to another level that you didn't think they had, that extra gear when you're going, man, these guys are kicking ass. And then they just go up one step further. And
Would you say they go to 11?
They go to 11. But they can go to 11. Some bands can only go to 10 because at least one or two of the members in the band can't go any further or get any more crazy. These guys, when I push it to 11, they all go with me. And that's why we can push it to 11.
So people have asked me about the band, and I'm like, well, I'm no aficionado, but you guys are such pros, man. You can tell you guys are all into it, and you're digging it, and you're together, and it just seems like it's really cohesive.
They're all killers. There's some bands, like even Ozzy's band, and a lot of these bands that I really like, the guys in the bands are killers. They play for the power, they play for the glory, they play for the rock, and they're just fierce. And then there are some bands that just like don't do that, and it's sort of that's why those bands rise to the top. And they just have that killer instinct, they want to deliver. And when they get on stage, the excitement makes them like superheroes. And that's kind of, all those like Eddie Van Halen, those kind of guys. And Terry Bozzio and drummers that are Tommy Aldrich are guys that are powers. And they strike fear into the hearts of the meek.
Good boys.
Yeah, some
children.
guys, hey, look, music's music. You can go out there and play a solid set, being normal volume or normal fierceness, and play a good set and have a good time. But sometimes people want animals and they want,
Bathroom's right there.
power, and I hope we deliver that, and that's what's been in my heart. I've been playing almost 50 years, and over time I learned how to put myself in to be a killer.
Nice.
Yeah.
No,
and Butler, you've seen him on stage. I mean, that guy's a freaking killer.
Well,
I'll hear
the
the
energy
stage rumble, then I'll see this bass go boom onto the stage. I'm like going, disregard, like, your guitar is just like, you're feeling it. It's like smash that thing, like Pete Townsend, Keith Moon, them guys were killers. Townsend just goes so crazy that he couldn't go any more crazy, so he just smashes guitars, and Keith would kick over his drums. Nirvana, same thing. Those guys were killers.
So as a non-musician, I always heard that the relationship between a bassist and a drummer, it can be great or not so great. So tell me about, like, the way you and Butler mesh.
Well, we're playing simpler, syncopated kind of tunes that are fours. Their dictator arrangements are pretty simple. I mean, you can almost like predict them because they do starting of a song, then they'll go into a verse, and then there's a chorus, and then another verse, another chorus, and then a bridge, and then a chorus or a bridge after the bridge, a chorus or a verse after the bridge, and then some change to the chorus at the end out. And so, like, we already kind of know where we're going with the songs, and you can predict it. I know where he's going to be. I know. I just know what we're thinking on it. I can.
So is it easy? Is it easy for you two to like get in the groove?
Yeah, I mean, I've learned these songs so well over practicing and changing them and thinking about them and learning them as somebody else playing them, and then slowly changing them to how I would play them, but keeping them in the same thing. And I would listen to all the drummers, hear all their parts, and then take the best of it, and then whatever was like in that gray area that I thought was just like a beat or something standard, that's where I would put my 2 cents in there. And then after I learned it that way, then I pushed it a little further and kind of got loose with it and added a little more arena drumming and Bunny Carlos and pop it up a little bit and make it more punky, but also make it a little more metal, so it has a little more.
Got some bite, right?
Yeah, a little more killer in it.
Yeah.
And with those guys, so they're so solid that it allows me to play around in the songs and not be like a boring punk rock drummer. Because in punk rock, really, I mean, the guitars are loud and fierce, but they're simple. The drumming is really what can make or break a punk rock band. They're like the Circle Jerks are touring with Joey from he was in Queens of Stone Age and Danzig, and he's a killer, that guy. And he Zach Sabbath he played with, but that guy took the Circle Jerks, who have been touring around doing their stuff, and then like reinvigorated that band. So when now he's in the band, when the Circle Jerks play, they strike fear in the people because it's the same guys, Mike Watt on bass, but it's like the same guys in there, but now they have this killer drummer that just makes the music that was there.
It, right?
A lot of those old punk rock records are they're not recorded very well. Sure. You can tell what they're doing, you can get the idea, and then when you saw them live, you put something to a PA and it's loud and powerful and you hear it, it's like, whoa, and then you go home and listen to the record and it just sounds thin and small, right? So when you go see Joey Castillo playing drums in that band, or somebody in that genre like that, and they got a killer drummer, it takes it to a level that kind of should have been, but back in those days, the bands just didn't have the money to make good sounding records. TSOL was another good band. I love them a lot. Dead Kennedys were incredible. They got that D.H. Pellegro, who just passed away, but he made that band go up a little bit on the level there because he was a hard hitter. So the whole, you need that energy. The drums really put the energy out. Your whole band can jump around. If your drummer's kind of this Sunday afternoon, you don't feel it. And the bass player can be standing on his head doing cartwheels, and you know what I mean? It's like, what the hell is that guy doing? He ain't matching the energy, And that's we have the energy match. So and I hope hopefully when I take it up to that level,
it shows.
Yeah, sometimes Richard will notice when we take it up that one extra notch, and he'll turn around like,
What's going on?
yeah, he's like, I've never heard this before. I go, yeah, because the guys in your band were just like either learning the songs or you were such a punk rocker and drinking and whatever you were doing back in the old days. You probably didn't notice that these guys were, like JP Thunderbolt and those guys are like killers and they're,
So I got a couple of questions I was thinking about for you. The first one is, again, I'm a non-musician. So when you go on these tours, you're playing on somebody else's kit.
Yeah.
Like, good, bad, otherwise, what is that like to adjust?
It's about 40, 60 with kits. When we did the last run in the East Coast, the drum kits were hit and miss. We used somebody's kit in Philly and stuff like that, and so they were okay. You know what I mean? We were lucky.
Okay.
Sometimes you go to places and the kits are so abominably bad that you almost have to, you have to like kind of
like
barter or something with the opening act. Like,
drum
can you
set.
please let me use your drums? I'll give you money. And then you can, the first tour we did when we did the Boston area tour early, we rented a kit from SIR. I don't mean to bash you, SIR, but you gave me a bogus kit, man. And they gave me a snare drum that had been dropped, and it took me about 3 shows to realize that I kept going through, like I get this head, my head started pulling out from underneath between the rim and the outer rim. And then when I took that drum head off, because it finally just ripped out, and I took it off, and I'm looking at the drum, and the drum is like oblong, like it had been on a stand and fell over, probably off a stage, and landed. So it was like it wasn't completely circular. When it's not circular, when you hit it, you just can never. I'm tuning it high on one side, high on the other, and then suddenly it's not matching, and I'm tuning the other side, and I go back, and now it's out of tune. And my brain, I've never had a bent snare because I'm always using really thick. I like heavy duty shit, so I'm using thick snares and wood, and it was like it took us 4 shows before we figured that out, and then we actually bought a snare. But that was a thing where we actually rented a kit for a whole tour, and the kit sucked, and I had to deal with it the whole tour. But the last time we played, the last run, the drum kits in New Jersey, and then we borrowed a guy's kit in Philly. They were pretty solid, but I've never used my own kit on any of these tours. You know what I mean? So in my mind, I wish. I'm really comfortable, but if you're a good player, you can kind of pick up any instrument, like whatever I play on. Like if I brought my kit in here, it would sound like the kit exactly downstairs. Kind of, I would tune it the same, and like I hit the same. So whenever I hit a drum, it almost sounds the same on every drum kit. It's like guitar players that pick up a guitar, and it could be, Jimmy Page or something. When they play somebody else's guitar, it sounds like Jimmy Page. John Bonham, no matter what he played, even if it was some house kit, the way he rim shots the snare and the way he hits the kick drum, whatever his inflection is on that, it's his own sound, and it's weird how it's a drum. You just think, I just hit it, I'll sound just like John Bonham. It's just where he hits it, wherever the stick, because you have all that headroom. If you hit it too close here, it's going to be high. If you hit it in the middle, it's kind of fat. So, so whenever I use a kit, it sounds like me. But the problem comes in the feel, and when you're playing a kit, like, the bass drum feels wobbly, and the pedal doesn't want to.
It probably feels as a player unsettled, like you don't feel quite.
No, you know what it is. You need that trust factor when you go around and you're playing a drum kit.
You got a Fender?
And you start to realize that doing a certain move or certain fill or something, you get in this area where it's like, this doesn't feel right. And that first tour we did, the first one, we were playing small places, and I hate my back against the wall. Because when I do that, I hunch over. And at that point, I wasn't in the greatest health. I had, my back had just gotten done. I had really bad, pinched nerve in my back, so I was kind of hunchy. I had my hi-hats lower, my seat was higher, and I was playing everything because on the first tour I learned all the drums. I tried to play them like fast punk rock with instead of it, and just keeping it with a feel. So I was playing it like textbook, and I practiced over practice. I got to the gigs, played the first show and I blistered up all my hands. So when your hands get all blistered, and you got to wrap them, but it still hurts. So when you're playing, I'm wearing gloves, and when you wear gloves, you play differently. So like all that work I did for the first tour, within one show, I blistered. I blistered in the rehearsals before the shows, and right there I had thumb blisters and everything. So it was like the worst possible outcome of all that work, and it just ended up one rehearsal and all my hand blistered up. So it kind of all that went out the window. You know, now this tour I've been holding my sticks different. I'm playing like I used to play with my hi hats and cymbals really high, and my snare. So there's a lot of openness, open air, and movement around. It's a better show, and my arms are really long. So you know what I mean. So I can hit the stuff. That first tour, man, we were playing small places, and we had barely any room, like a foot or two for Dick. So
you're just crowded.
Yeah, Dick had to have some room, and he'd get mad if I was like, I'm trying not to lean against the wall. So I sat almost against the wall, and then when you sit against the wall, you hit your elbow against the wall. And so, like, I'm playing the whole time thinking I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to go gink, and I'm going to go, hit, you know, like a hit my funny bone.
Well, yeah, right, yeah.
So that's what happened on that first tour. And then after that, the last tour we went to England, I started going back. And then on the tour before this one, in New York area, that one I started to
with the oblong.
Started to move up, and then this tour here, I'm full bore again. I'm full. That's how I used to play when I first, when I.
Well, this has been nice because you've had. I mean, the room, a couple of the rooms. Pittsburgh was small, but
Paul has that Yamaha drum set I'm using, recording series. It's one of my favorite drum kits. Like I've, used. I was in a band called Reach Around, and we opened for the Sex Pistols at Red Rocks. The last time I played a Yamaha recording series, because we didn't have my drums shipped out yet, and so Bob Rupp, the representative from the Denver area, he said, "What kind of drums you want?" I said, "Oh, I want this." And they got the same kit that I have downstairs, 24, 13, 16, beautiful black.
All right, we'll be down there. Well, I'm trying to give you some content, Michael Butler, for your show.
He's interviewing me. I don't think he likes me.
Manitoba fell asleep.
Yeah.
He fell asleep and didn't set his alarm.
It's okay, man. He's got 40 minutes or whatever. These guys are on. So
I've got one last question for Scotty Slam before we go down. I hear the dulcet tones of the strains as they're rocking the shit out of Reggie's here in Chicago. So one last question. So we've been to all these different places, and obviously, Richard's got a ton of fans from way back in the day. So is there a person that you've met or heard about or seen at any of the shows that you were a little awestruck or like, holy shit, that's
I
this
was been
person?
awestruck last night because he had West Beach from the Plasmatics come out.
Yeah.
And he's at the show, and I'm like, he was wearing a Pretty Boy Floyd shirt, and I'm kind of like, I didn't realize that was him because
The British Pretty Boy
yeah,
Floyd.
because you go to shows, and so you'll see like I go to a lot of metal shows and rock shows, and you'll see some guy in there wearing like a old Scorpion shirt or something, and you just got like, oh, that guy's just kind of and a Pretty Boy Floyd, they're like a LA third generation glam band, so like I just looked at him like, look at old guy's got these rocking the Pretty Boy Floyd shirt, so I didn't really take him seriously. Then the next day, West Beach was there, and he showed me a picture. I go, that was the guy. I didn't, West Beach was in one of the most hardcore bands at that point, and I'm like, I don't know if he was joking wearing a shirt, or he actually liked him, or he knew the guys in the band, or worked on a record or something. But it was just weird. Like I didn't put two and two together, and the next morning, like, oh man, I would love to have talked to that guy. He's like a punk rock hero, man, with all the plasmatics.
I'm gonna go downstairs.
All right, we're gonna head downstairs. Thanks everybody. Thanks Scotty Slam. I appreciate a couple of minutes to chat you up. Thanks Jeff
Thank you.
from Iowa and all the rest of you. Hey, everybody out there in Rock and Rollville, stay frosty.
There you go. Inside the Mind of a Drummer with Scotty Slam. Wow, that was long. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. I did. All right, we got to load up the van. Everybody's down here, and we got to drive to Milwaukee. I'm going to close out with a Strains tune. Those guys are the coolest people. That's the best part. It's better than playing on stage. Well, it's as good as playing on stage. Is meaning long lasting friendships, and I got a feeling the Strains are going to be friends for a long time. Really cool guys and a great band. I'm going to close out with a Strains song. I'm going to probably get Jamie and Paul on when we get to Milwaukee. We'll do a little talking to the Strains. But this is a song, it's a B-side of Jim Wren, friend of the Rock and Roll Geek Show, has a record label called I-94 Recordings. And this is on that. This is a cover of a Torpedoes song from 1979 called Checking Out. I'll talk to you tomorrow, friends. Have a good one. Stay frosty. All right, sorry, hold on a second. I caught an audible here. I hit buttons. I apologize. I'm trying to load up the van while I'm playing songs. Here's the Strains. All right, friends, I am a mess. I can't help load the van. Here's the Strains.
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.